When looking at the Haragamo around several awakened Zoans, something is quite fishy. In the past, I have said that the difference between Luffy's Haragamo and the one, say, that Rob Lucci wears might be a difference in morality. However, I think I was ultimately wrong on that. Looking at Remo Shifu Killingham, he too has a white Haragamo as opposed to a black one. And I think the reason for this is very simple, and it's a very funny trick that Oda is playing, but it's very obvious. So, Remo Shifu Killingham has the power of the mythical dragon fruit model Kirin. A Kirin or a Quillin is considered a divine or sacred beast in multiple mythologies. Therefore, he is a divine beast. He is deity-like. Therefore, he gets a white Haragamo. Luffy has the power of the human fruit mythical model type Nika. Nika is a deity. He is the sun deity known the world over. So Nika is a divine entity like the Kirin. Every other awakened Zoan that we have seen throughout the series is not a divine entity or a divine beast. They are supernatural creatures, but they are not divine. A Pegasus is not a deity. Cerberus, the first awakened Zoan to be an item in the series, is not a divine beast. A supernatural beast, but in no way in mythology is Cerberus seen as a divine beast. A leopard is an animal. It is not a divine beast. A giraffe is not a divine beast. This gets even more interesting when you consider the five elders, because out of all of them, none of them have the power of a divine beast if we are considering them all the same as your standard mythical Zoan. Except for maybe Jupiter, I'm still on the fence about him. He more so looks like he'd be an ancient Zoan as opposed to a mythical one, because there's nothing mythical about a sandworm. It's a monster from D&D. But anyway, the point I'm trying to make is that all of the five elders, apart from Jupiter, are just yokai. They are just mythical creatures that are nuisances or bad spirits in mythologies. There is nothing divine about any one of them, which is really interesting. The only wrench in this description is Top Man Warcry, who may or may not be a Fang Ji, otherwise known as a Hokai, which sometimes can be considered like the ancient Chinese deity for rain. But based on his depiction in One Piece, I'm leaning more towards him just being a yokai, because the other depiction of this creature is just another yokai or a yogoi, which is just a Chinese yokai. So with that being said, if you are not a divine creature, you don't get the white Hagoromo. So with that being made clear, let's talk about three characters that have ties to Wano: Yamato, Momonosuke, and Kaido. You may think, with the Seiryu or Azure Dragon being a divine beast, Kaido, and by extension Momonosuke, have a claim to divinity, and when either one of them awakens, they will get a white Hagoromo. This is not true. Even though the Azure Dragon is a divine beast, a deity figure in mythology, the fruit that they have isn't about that creature. Their fruit is a manifestation of a parable, the parable or legend of the Dragon's Gate, in which a carp swims up a waterfall and jumps over the gate to become a dragon. The idiom, the parable, is about working hard to achieve success through great strife and challenges. It has nothing to do with divinity. It's about overcoming expectations. Therefore, both of them in that way are washed. They get a black Hagoromo. Too bad, try again. Now, when you look at Yamato, Yamato is the most impressive mythical Zoan in the series because even though she is not awakened, she has a Hagoromo. And by the description of what Kaido says about her fruit is the guardian deity of Wano. So her dog fruit is a divine mythical creature. Therefore, she is the first divine entity to be present in the series because her arrival and power showing predates the arrival of Gear 5th before we even knew the true nature of the Gum Gum fruit. So that is why she is important, because she is the first one to ever be described as a divine beast. So I would really watch out for her in the future because I think that has to mean something. Why was she given such a high honor, especially considering how now, even though she's not awakened, the reason why I say she's not awakened is because we have depictions of her as a child shortly after she ate the fruit, and she has a wispy Hagoromo back then in both her full beast and hybrid states. So no, she is not awakened. However, the dog fruit motto Okuchi no Makami has to be a divine beast based on Kaido's description. And based on where she's going, she probably will be the second, or I should say third because of Killingham. She will be the third person in the series probably to awaken her mythical deity themed fruit. So with that being said, the only deity fruits, true deity fruits that we have in the series so far are the human fruit model Nika, the dragon fruit model Kirin or Quillen, and then the dog fruit model Okuchi no Makami. So Luffy, Killingham, Yamato, all deity fruits. And if you want to know, as far as I can tell, fruits like, say, Sengoku's human fruit model Daibutsu would not be in the running because the Daibutsu is just a statue of a man who is divine, making Sengoku a golem. But with that being said, I believe I covered everybody. If I missed someone, let me know. Give me your thoughts and tell your friends about Polypede. What?